All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
Three consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
How we doing? Good afternoon, everybody. This is pre-market prep at the close. Spencer Israel, no Joel this week. He is, of course, on vacation, but that is okay. The show must go on. I'm bringing on a surprise guest. We'll bring him on in like a minute or so. But first, the question of the day is, I guess, my question. One of my questions of the day is, are we due to close at yet another all-time high? SPY is right there at new highs. Q's opened at new highs. We're a little bit off the opening price, but we're still right there. IWM lagging, we know. Dow Jones trying to get to new highs, or at least close at new highs. You can see the DIA right there. Yeah, that's it. Guys, we're just at new highs. That's what we do, right? Buy the dip. It works again. I want to talk about space. I want to talk about the banks. I want to talk about Disney. I want to talk about NEO. I saw someone just mention lithium. Yes, lithium's on fire today. So is solar. I want to talk about that. And we'll see what you guys want to talk about. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. Drop your tickers in the chat, and we will we will talk about whatever you want, basically. Before I bring on our guests, smash that like button. Thank you very much. And now, surprise guest of the day, Christian Fromhertz from Tribeca Trade Group. Christian, how we doing? Good afternoon. What's going on? How's your weekend?
Good. How's it going, Spencer?
It is going pretty well. Hope you had a nice, relaxing weekend.
Yeah, great weekend. Very, very hot here in New York City. So it's actually nice to be inside today. You got a whole bunch of storms. I think we're getting another one this afternoon, but it is steamy hot outside.
You know, New York is like especially bad in the heat because then the garbage just smells and the subway, the subway's a nightmare, and it's especially bad.
Well, I wasn't even talking about that, but whenever it's like hot in the city, it's like another 10 degrees.
Yeah,
hotter. So definitely feeling it today, and it's not a bad day to be inside and trading a little bit today.
Yeah, Greg Marr. This says the subway is awful when it's hot. Damn right, Greg Marr. The subway is awful. Okay, Christian, what are you watching today? What's on your radar?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. I mean, we're just kind of grinding higher a little bit. I'm more concerned with a couple of the events that we got for the rest of the week. So I think this is nice to kind of see us, start flat and kind of ease into the week. And you got the grind higher and just about everything, I think, today. And I think that, tomorrow is going to be, there's going to be a lot of eyes on these inflation reports, CPI tomorrow and then PPI on Wednesday. And Mr. Powell speaks again a couple days. So I think those are going to be the main events. And then, as we get closer to we are going to get earnings reports and the bank earnings, which, are a little bit slower movers on earning for earnings traditionally. So then it's just going to kind of get us warmed up for next week and some of the bigger earnings reports.
Yeah, let me pull up the XLF today. Speaking of the banks, strong day. I feel like we do see this, if not every quarter, a lot of quarters where the banks will run up into the report, and then it doesn't really matter what they say, right? The numbers don't really make a difference. They will sell off afterwards. It's just anecdotally is what it seems like to me.
It seems that way, and they're just not big movers on earnings day. I mean, if you look at the majority of them, they're up, down, minus like 2%. They're just not really names to kind of play for that day, other than what I traditionally look at if I'm going to do anything in the banks for earnings is maybe wait, JP Morgan every once in a while will sell off a little bit, and it always seems like it's a buying opportunity. And it doesn't even seem like there's a real reason for when they're just, they're just really analyzing whatever they say in earnings. Maybe it's something about the loan balances or something like that. And it kind of just seems like, okay, well, whatever, it usually ends up being a little bit of a dip to buy. Yeah. I came in position a little bit in Goldman today, and I got out of it. I was happy with the 2-day gains. If you want, I can share my screen too to go through some
that'd
charts.
be cool. That would be cool.
All right, let me see. Let me just make sure I know how to do that.
And Duncan Dave, yes, you missed the opening. Joel is on vacation, but the show must go on. I'll have a new guest every day of the week for this slot.
Let's see.
We are joined by the one and only Christian Fromhertz today from Tribeca Trade Group. Here is his screen. Let's bring it on, and we'll be able to see what charts he's looking at.
Yeah, so you should have a chart of Goldman in front of you. But yeah, nice 2-day move. Some other names too. I think it's really for me for earnings. Because these reports this week, although they're going to be they're going to get attention, the CPI report. I mean, we really don't know what the reaction is going to be. I'm a little bit defensive going into the CPI report, and just kind of at this point, I wouldn't mind a little bit of a dip in the market. It was kind of fun last week. So, it was just kind of caught everybody off guard. So if we get a little bit of a dip with one of these reports or something that Powell says, I'm all for it at this point. And besides that, just really kind of trying to position into some of these earnings reports, because I think that's more or less where the trade is, rather than, the FANG names are very, traditionally run into the earnings reports. And I think so far that's what we're seeing again, and we could potentially see a little bit more of that. So rather than kind of say, oh, geez, what are these names going to do on earnings, and is there a trade? I think the trade is always, you play the run into as the catalyst.
Yeah. So 2 takeaways from that. One, you just said you're rooting for a pullback because you can't wait to buy it. and then the second thing is you're looking at tech. Well, basically, tech starts next week. I think Netflix next week, and then it's really the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks. Yeah, absolutely.
Weeks. So you're eyeing the FANG names now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All of them?
Well, it's kind of, you have to be a little bit careful, because you look at these things and they're all up. I mean, none of these are really at a discount. My main focus right now is Amazon, and I don't mind a little bit of, Friday, Amazon really didn't do much because of the run. I believe because of the run that it's been on. Today, it's not doing much either. So this is really going to be a name that I'm going to be watching the rest of the week. I wouldn't mind a little bit of a dip down to 3,657. So like I said, I'm kind of prepared either way. I've got a little bit of a trade on left from last week, but really I'm kind of looking to get back involved in Amazon. And you could see for the week, right? So I use valuaries. I rely a lot on volume at price. And right now we're kind of smack in the middle of the value area for the week. So there's no real trade yet to do, I think, for Amazon, but it's definitely one of those names where you want to put on a couple alerts, and this thing going sideways after it's now broken out gets me excited. So I'm perfectly fine to see this thing consolidate a little bit of the gains, and then let's see if this wants to make another leg higher. And this is the one that I'm really focused on.
So expand that indicator. That's the blue line right there. No, that's the which.
So this box that you're looking at, right? Yeah. So this is the value area for the week. What this is based on is all of the price action, all of the volume, and the time, which is we're on the 1 hour chart. So this price action from last week, this volume profile, is all from last week's trading activity. So you could see right now there's a little bit of indecision because it's right smack in the value area. So it's not breaking out. It's range bound for now. What I'm looking for is that next leg higher, which would be above 37.50. So I've got alerts set here, and that would be where I would be adding exposure. And then secondarily, if it comes down and dips a little bit, I want to see the dip hold, and that would be right around 3,656. As of now, there's not much to do in terms of what, it's just being right smack in the middle of the value area, right at the point of control, which the point of control is where the majority of the volume occurred last week. It's just telling me right now we're in consolidation mode.
Got it. I'm trying to understand why 36.56 is the bottom of that value area.
So the 36.56 this is close to a standard deviation
of all of last week's
action. So it becomes what we found using this, and I've been using this now for a few years, is that these support and resistance levels will be super important. And you could see this was the first bar of the day, tagged it, and just didn't have the power to get through it. Right. So I really focus. So when I do my swing trading, I'm kind of like a short to medium term swing trader.
Yeah.
There are long term swings that I'll look at too, but you could see Google, kind of spent, first of all, Google was very strong a couple of weeks ago, spent last week or the end of last week a bit consolidating, and it kind of, it doesn't have a lot of momentum to it, but it is above value for the week. So the support level to kind of trade against right now is 25.31, and it's basically, we don't have any resistance, other than what it did on this particular bar last week, but which I kind of ignore. So I think it's constructive here. And I think, Facebook has kind of fallen under the radar. So this is another kind of wait and see a little bit, which is fine. It's okay to kind of have some setups that you're just kind of watching right now, considering that we're getting a little bit extended all over the place. But yeah, you could see that the level to watch for this one to just, and this is what I spend a lot of my time doing, is just basically setting alerts. And then, coming back, once an alert goes off, then I say, okay, I've got an interesting pivot to watch. So this would be 354 would be the level to watch on Facebook.
What do your charts say on Virgin Galactic? Just out of curiosity.
Well, this one, I really think the trade is over. Okay. This was a buy the rumor, sell the news.
Oh yeah.
And I think it is what it is. It made this nice move last week. It's sitting, it was all over the place this week. It was spent a little bit of time above value. It crossed the value area and is now below value. So this is not a name that I want to touch. I traded this one just a little bit last week because we saw that momentum type call buying. But I think the trade is really over here. It needs to kind of maybe consolidate. Maybe set up for some other catalyst, but I think that was the catalyst. That's the move, and you got to go on to something else at this point. Just my opinion.
Okay. Hey, it's hard to argue with the chart, right? They sold into this. They raised money into this. It's hard to argue with it, right?
I actually did a poll yesterday on Bloomberg, and I said, 3 choices. What do you think is going to happen here? Gap up. I said, gap up and fade, or a sell off. And I think that the majority of, I wasn't that skewed. I think there was about somewhere around 45% of the people, which was the top choice, to gap up and fade. And I think that's playing out, as the old buy the rumor, sell the news happens again and again.
We did a very informal chat challenge last week. Picked the best performing stock for the next week, and I just for giggles I picked this one. But in my defense, look, I will maintain that if they didn't announce an offering this morning, then I'd have a shot. But I've got
possibly. We'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
Thank you. The benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's talk about Disney here.
Disney. Okay,
a few things happening. There was the box office over the weekend. They're raising the price of the ESPN Plus by $1 per month from $6 to $7. The yearly subscription is going up from 60 to 70. So there's that going on. You've got some unusual call buying today. Disney's having a really good day. Somebody in chat asked if this was a short squeeze. I highly doubt it. There's 1.8 billion shares in the Disney float. Do you know how many of those shares would have to be sold short for there to be a squeeze? It was just highly unlikely. Well, that's my take.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of really, they've seen stocks move on short squeezes, so they're very much like that has their attention. Yeah. But you have to remember too, sometimes it's not just about a short squeeze; it's just about people being, a name being under-owned, right? And that's what going back to the Amazon example. And you could see that too with NVIDIA. That happened a couple of weeks back, or maybe a little bit more than a couple of weeks back. But you could see the volume on the breakout. And when you see volume like this, forget about the short squeeze, because that's not the situation with Disney. It's the case where people are just a little bit under-owned. And sometimes that's even better than a short squeeze, because it just shows that long money. I mean, you could see this, and obviously what's happened in Apple too the last few weeks, right? It's, believe it or not, like, even though Apple is a big weight in most of the indices, sometimes funds just don't have a big enough position. So when this thing starts to move, right, and a good example is going back to this NVIDIA. But if you look at the weekly chart in NVIDIA, right, and the volume really pick up, it just shows you, on the breakout, that people were kind of caught off guard as this broke out, and funds have to start buying this thing if they don't have enough of it. And that's what you saw in NVIDIA, and that's why sometimes these breakouts can be really exciting, or a little bit of new news, or when a name like Disney has been quiet and kind of, I mean, look at this range this downward range that it's in. So I would be a little bit wary that at this point, 4.4% move for Disney is a pretty big move. There is these red lines on my charts are called virgin point of controls, which I know is a kind of heavy subject to cover here. But basically, it's just a lot of volume that has previously happened, kind of like, some overhead supply. So there might be a little bit of profit taking at around 185 to 186. We also took out one of these on the 1 hour chart too. And we'll see how that kind of works with consolidation with there.
All right, Christian, before we let you go, what else is on your radar? If you're looking at tech into earnings for the next 2 weeks, and you're watching for Fed speak, and I don't even remember frankly, I don't remember what number we're getting this week that you said was of interest, because none of them are
CPI and PPI.
Okay, that one actually is of interest to me.
Come on, inflation.
Yeah,
inflation.
Here's what I don't get about that number though. Is there's like 4 different versions of the same number, so I don't understand like which one I need to be paying attention to. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll find out tomorrow at 8:30. But I mean,
fantastic.
It's it's one of those things. To me, a lot of these things are just distractions.
Yeah,
there's these things that everybody's watching, and it's really going to depend on what the street was expecting versus what the number is, and it just might be an excuse to kind of for a little bit of volatility to happen. That's the way I kind of look at it. Some of these reports are just kind of an excuse that if we're overbought and the market is kind of priced to perfection, that you might see a little bit of a hiccup. But it's probably just that. If we do get a little bit of volatility, I might, and unless it's like a blast off to the moon CPI and PPI report, I'll probably be looking to kind of buy the dip a little bit if that's the case. You asked me what I'm looking at. I'm looking at these semis here because, these semis try to break out about 2 weeks ago, and they kind of got rejected up here and coming back in. We got a nice report that's coming up this week, Taiwan Semiconductor, which could get the group going. Remember, Micron reported, and it wasn't such a great reaction. Mm-hmm. This is another one of these stocks that it's been a kind of frustrating stock the last few months. It's just been going sideways. But it's starting to kind of perk up, and another name that may run in a little bit to the report. But if not, maybe this is a name that could get going. We're seeing a little bit of positioning in things like Lam Research today, and another name that I'm watching too, which is a strong name that nobody really talks about that much, is this ASML, which is trying to break higher too. And what's nice about this is it's been a little bit it got a little extended here. And it's kind of right back there after about a little over a month of consolidation. So I like this name. And sometimes I like when there's names that people don't talk about too much, but are acting pretty well.
Yeah. Taiwan Semi reports Thursday morning. ASML reports next Wednesday morning, the 21st, just to have those dates on your radar. Christian Fromhertz is a fantastic follow on Twitter. His handle is up on the screen at @CFromhertz. And I owe him a debt of gratitude for hanging out with me for these 20 minutes here. Man,
a pleasure as always, Spencer.
Good luck at the close, and we'll talk to you later.
Sounds good. Thanks, Spencer.
All right. Christian Fromhertz has been my guest, and he is simply fantastic. Okay, saw a few questions in chat I want to get to. One of them was about CRTD, asking if I sold it today. No, because I got stopped out last week. So No, it did not sell today. I got stopped out like I don't know. When did I get? When did I do this? No, that was 2 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago. No, so I'm long gone. I'm long out of CRTD. Whoever asked that, I am long gone. Okay, let's pull up my pro here. There's a few more things I wanted to get to. That Disney chart, yeah, I mean, looks great. It was range. It was so quiet for so long, right? So very nice to see that. As somebody who is long, Tesla. I've added a few basic moving averages here. You can see that old. I don't know what the correct term for that, whatever, bullish crossover, whatever you want to call that, from a couple days ago, which, as a lagging indicator shows that was a buying opportunity. But I really just added these moving averages just to, put some color on my chart and give myself some perspective here. But yeah, that was a bullish crossover on Friday. So yeah, all right, you had that going for you, which is nice. What else did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about, where's my list? Solar today. Man, you guys see solar? Look at tan. We talked about this on the Power Hour. First solar. You can look at SOL. No. You can look at Sunrun. Just having a nice day all around. Let's zoom out on the sector here. I looked at this today, and I thought about buying this. I also thought about buying Lit, but I did not. Hard to chase this now. I mean, come on. This thing just broke out, right? Guess who got SunPower? Money Mitch did. Well, I guess Money Mitch can talk about that in 10 minutes, right? About what he saw in the SunPower setup. Interesting chart there. Same thing. Bullish crossover. No, that's a bearish crossover. Moving averages are hindsight lagging indicators. Really just there for perspective. I wouldn't trade off of those. What else was there? I want? Neo. Yeah, you guys saw Neo today. I guess we got some love from Bank America. Is that right? Let's go to the ratings here. In Benzinga Pro, I don't think it was an upgrade. I think it was just some positive commentary. Levi Strauss got some love today as well. Someone just mentioned that in chat. But no, Neo got some positive commentary from, I'm 99% sure it was Bank America. I'm not going to, I could just search for it. They had their power day last week, right? So Neo's having a good day. Chart looks okay. Chart looks okay to me. What else was on my list? Banks, solar, Tesla, space. I think that was more or less it. Somebody asked if who was? Let me scroll up here in the chat. Someone asked what the best cannabis stock was, right? Well, you guys know what I'm going to say about this. Let me find out who asked the question before I. Jonathan. Sorry, I meant to ask Christian about Roku or Square. I would have liked his thoughts. Let's take a look at Roku and Square real fast, and then I'll go to that cannabis question if I can find it. This is one I've wanted to buy and haven't bought ever. Every dip is a buying opportunity in Roku. Same thing with Square. These are both they're both on my list. You know what? That Square chart looks juicy. Just because it's not doing anything, right? I'd much rather buy it during a period of consolidation than like a breakout, right? Or a break below the floor of the range, below support. So just the fact that it's in range bound makes me interested. This is moving to the top of my buy list. I have not bought this, but I am very interested in Square, and I have been interested since 50 or whatever. I don't know. That's not true. When did IPO at? Yeah, I've been interested in this one for a couple years and never got in. So I like that one. And then the cannabis question was, somebody asked what favorite cannabis stock, or I think that was the question. Look, if I could pitch one, I would pitch the MSOS, which is not a stock, of course. It's the ETF. This is the ETF that owns the equivalent of all the major U.S. cannabis producers, the multi-state operators. I've got the top 4 holdings, right? The top 4 holdings in this, in no particular order, are GTBIF, Green Thumb, Cresco, right, which is CRLBF, Curaleaf, which is CURLF, and TrueLeaf, which is TCNNF. Those are the big 4. Those make up, I think about, I haven't checked for a few weeks or a few months. I want to say those 4 make up about 30 to 40% maybe of the ETF. I can check right now, but I'm not going to. Regardless, they're large positions. So the 4 largest positions in the fund. And so those are the 4 that I own. Whoever asked the cannabis question. I'm just catching up in chat. Jonathan grabbed calls for Square and Roku. Okay. Hector, wait, I don't know what's your cannabis stock, Hector? I don't know. I'm genuinely curious. So a few people ask about GameStop and AMC for that matter. I don't know. The AMC thing, the chart looks so horrible. That breakdown looks so terrible. And then you had that great day on what, Thursday? So who knows at this point? Like, it looked so bad on Wednesday. I don't know. I have no idea. I paid up my, if anyone's keeping track, I did pay up my bet to Dennis. I did send him a Tim Hortons gift card today. I tried to send it with a picture of like the Wall Street Bets guy, but they blocked it. I tried to get that on the gift card, but they said no. Tim Hortons is no fun. And then GameStop. So the AMC thing, who can say? Because I bet on the bullish side. I was wrong. So, and I don't know. This thing is confusing me. GameStop. You know what I'm watching more than anything is just the decline in volume, right? Volume's getting lower and lower and lower. And I know, if you look at the GameStop, it had the decline, the volume decline, and then one more run in it. And I know everyone's waiting for that to happen in AMC too. Maybe it will, but this GameStop, I mean, the volume is just getting low. Is this a low for the year? 1.5 million shares traded today. Is that a low for the year in GameStop? It might be. This might be a new low for the year in terms of volume. It's going to be close. That does not bode well. Is the point of that tangent? Do not love lower volume. You want to see breakouts on volume, not steady decline on lower volume. It just shows that interest is moving on, right? Okay, moving to the scanner here. Take a look at what's up, what's down, what's on your leaderboard today as far as your winners and your losers. Newegg is on your leaderboard from at top of the loser filters, NEGG. No real surprise there, right? This is exactly what happens with the high flyers. They top out, they come back down to earth. Space, we know about. CPOP is that IPO we talked about with Matt Hammond on this morning's show. This is the IPO, one of the IPOs from last week. He played it, and ugly. What else jumps out to me? Triple D. This one tends to lead either on the upside or the downside on any given day. It's a high flyer for sure. Today it's leading on the downside, down almost 10%. That's pretty much it for me. Just as a reminder, everyone, no real earnings tonight. Look at the earnings calendar. We got nothing tonight. Tomorrow morning, though, we do have a few. We got Pepsi. We got JP Morgan. We got Goldman Sachs. We got Fastenal. And, Organogram. Speaking of pot stocks, OGI. It's tomorrow morning as well. Yeah. What's going on with Levi? I mean, didn't they have whatever happened? They had news last week, right? They had earnings. They had earnings last week. And then the numbers were great, right? They raised their guidance for the second half of the year. Well, they're holding those gains. Very nice in Levi. Very, very nice. What day was the earnings report? I think it was. I want to say it was. What day was the 8th? It was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday after the close. There's your bell. All right, it's not really holding those gains. I don't. A little bit. It's trying to zoom out. Doesn't look terrible, right? Right there near all-time highs. Speaking of all-time highs, we did close at a new all-time high in the SPY or in the S&P just now. I'll pull up the SPY, which is the equivalent of that. Look at the Qs. Same story on the Qs. Same story on the Qs. Diamonds are so close, right? The Dow Jones is so close to new highs. And then, surprise, surprise, your small caps are lagging the pack. IWM, your worst performer of the bunch today, and the furthest away from all-time highs. Bitcoin just keeps on falling, down 2.5% today. Ethereum, I'm sorry, down 4% today. This is Bitcoin against the dollar. Ethereum, same thing, down almost 6% today. I don't know. Not selling my crypto. Okay, that'll be a wrap for me today. We got Money Mitch on right now. After Money Mitch, we'll have the Trend Spotter chart roundup with Jake Wojasik. He's got very unique charts, very unique indicators, and a very good way of looking at setups. I highly recommend, if you're all about charts, really you should want to get as many different views as you can. His view can certainly work for some people, and I think his philosophy of charts is very good. So let it be at 5 o'clock right here on this channel, and then we'll wrap up the day with the Rel Report at 7 p.m. Please do me a solid, smash the like button, and even better than that is remembering that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes and not for investing or trading advice. All right, that's a wrap for me. Everyone, I hope you made some money today. Money Mitch is on right now. The stream will redirect straight to that.